The Book of Five Rings by Miyamoto Musashi. The Ground Book. In this book I lay the foundation of the way of strategy, just as the ground supports all things beneath the sky. A warrior must build a broad and solid base before he can stand firm in battle or in life. Strategy is not only for the battlefield. It is the craft of the warrior in every moment. Commanders must enact it with their whole being, and even the lowest trooper must understand its principles if he is to survive. I have spent many years training in the way I call Niten Ichi Ryu, the school of two swords as one, and now at 60 years of age I set it down plainly for the first time. There are many ways in the world: the way of salvation through the Buddha's law, the way of learning from Confucius, the way of healing, the way of poetry, the way of tea, the way of archery, and countless others. Each man follows the path that suits his nature. Yet the warrior's way is twofold: the way of the pen and the way of the sword. Even if you lack natural talent, diligent daily practice will bring mastery. The heart of this way is the resolute acceptance of death. Unlike priests or peasants who face death only in duty, the warrior embraces it in every combat, whether single combat or the clash of armies, seeking victory for power, fame, or the honor of his lord. I compare strategy to the work of a master carpenter. The foreman knows the rules of nature, the laws of the land, and the traditions of his house. He selects timber with care: straight and fine pieces for pillars and thresholds, strong yet gnarled wood for hidden beams, weak pieces only for scaffolding. He assigns tasks according to each man's ability: the unskilled to simple joists, the skilled to fine finishing. And he moves among his workers, encouraging them so that morale stays high. In the same way, the strategist must know how to deploy men like timbers, using the strong where strength is needed and the weak only where weakness will not harm the whole. Troopers, like carpenters, must sharpen their tools daily and work without warp or misalignment. The 5 books of my strategy follow this ground. The ground book itself is the straight road mapped out clearly so that you may know the small from the large, the shallow from the deep. The water book teaches the spirit that adapts like water. The fire book shows the fierce spirit of combat. The wind book examines the traditions of other schools so that you may see their limits. The void book reveals the emptiness from which all action arises naturally. In my school, we carry the long sword and the companion sword, trained so that either hand can wield them freely. One sword cuts broadly, the other works close. Together, they give advantage in open fields or narrow streets, in crowds or alone. Win with whatever weapon comes to hand. The spirit of the longsword governs both self and world. One man who masters this beats 10. 10,000 beat 100,000. Weapons have their proper places. The companion sword for tight spaces, the long sword for all distances, the spear for open initiative, the halberd for defense, the bow for the first exchange, the gun for siege. Never favor one above the others. Handle each according to its virtue. Timing governs everything. In music, in dance, in commerce, in war. Learn to see the rhythm of the moment, the background behind the foreground. Victory comes from striking at the unexpected instant.
Train day and night. Think honestly, study every art, no gain from loss. Perceive the unseen, attend to small things, do nothing useless. In large-scale strategy, govern your men justly, keep discipline, and your spirit will never be defeated. Without this ground, even the sharpest sword is useless.
Study these principles deeply. Make them part of your body and mind, and all techniques and victories will grow naturally from this root. The Book of Five Rings by Miyamoto Musashi. The Water Book. Here I explain the spirit of my strategy through the nature of water. Water flows around every obstacle, takes the shape of any vessel, yet remains powerful and unstoppable. In combat, you must become the same, flexible in mind and body, calm on the surface, yet ready to strike with full force the instant the opening appears. The Water Book teaches the correct attitudes, footwork, grip, and timing of the long sword so that these things become natural as breathing. Grasp the principles not only with the eyes, but with the body. Read my words, ponder them, then practice until they live inside you. The spirit of water is never fixed. It adapts instantly. Your mind must remain free without clinging to any form. When the enemy moves, flow with him as water follows the land. When he hesitates, crash upon him like a wave. Begin with the spiritual bearing. In battle and in daily life, keep the same stance. Head erect, shoulders relaxed, abdomen braced, legs strong from knee to toe. The companion sword rests firmly in the belt. Eyes look broad and calm. Perceive the whole field strongly, yet focus sight softly so nothing distracts you. Gaze at the enemy's sword, but see everything around it. Train this gaze in ordinary life so it never changes. The grip of the long sword is light yet alive. Thumb and forefinger float. The middle finger rests neutral. The last two grip firmly. Never squeeze like a dead hand. Keep the sword living and ready to cut. Footwork follows natural walking. Toes light, heels firm, stepping in the rhythm of yin and yang, left and right alternating without preference. Avoid jumping, floating, or fixed steps. They betray indecision. There are 5 attitudes: upper, middle, lower, right side, left side. All exist only to cut the enemy. Do not fix your mind on any one, simply cut according to the moment. The middle attitude is the heart, like a commander's seat. The others support it. In large-scale battle, the same principle holds. No rigid formation, only the intent to cut. The way of the long sword is simple once known. Wield it with 2 fingers if the path is clear. Cut downward and lift naturally. Cut sideways and return sideways. Elbows broad, body strong. I teach 5 approaches to the enemy. In the middle, meet face to face and cut. In the upper, strike from above or scoop below if he evades. In the lower, anticipate and cut the hands. On the left side, parry and cut over the shoulder. On the right side, cross and cut straight. Practice these until they flow without thought. Special cuts include the flowing water cut. When blades clash, expand your spirit and cut slowly as still water, certain and unstoppable. The continuous cut
sweeps head, hands, and legs in one motion. The fire and stones cut meets force with greater force, striking with hands, body, and legs together.
The red leaves cut knocks the sword down and sticks to it so the enemy cannot recover. Body and sword must move as one. Sometimes the body leads, sometimes the sword. Learn to feel which is right. Cut with resolution. Slash lightly if needed, but follow with a decisive blow. Stick to the enemy like glue and lacquer so no gap opens. Strike the body through any guard, thrust at face or heart when the moment demands. Against many enemies, use both swords wide, chase the flanks, drive them together, and crush them in a pile. Practice these things morning and evening until the principles become your nature. When you understand the rhythm of water, you will defeat any opponent without wasted effort or fixed form. This is the heart of practical technique. Absorb it fully, and victory will follow as naturally as water finds its level. The Book of 5 Rings by Miyamoto Musashi. The Fire Book. In the Fire Book, I reveal the heart of actual combat. Fire is fierce, sudden, and consuming. So must your fighting spirit be. I set down the ways of initiative, timing, and decisive striking so that you may press the attack without pause and read the enemy's intention in a single glance. Whether facing one man or many, the principles remain the same. Control the space, control the rhythm, and strike at the right moment with overwhelming force. Fire teaches that hesitation is death. Move with purpose and destroy doubt. When you master the fire, victory becomes certain in the heat of battle. First, examine the place. Stand so the sun is behind you or to your right. Keep your rear clear and your left side open for the sword. In buildings, position yourself with the entrance at your right. At night, place fire behind you so it blinds the enemy. Always chase him toward awkward ground, thresholds, pillars, verandas, where his footing fails. 3 methods exist to forestall the enemy. Take the initiative by attacking first, wait for his move and strike the instant he commits, or feint to draw him out and then crush him. In all cases, keep your spirit strong and your body relaxed. To tread down the sword means to defeat him at the very start of his attack, stepping on his spirit and blade so he cannot recover. To know collapse is to pursue relentlessly when his rhythm breaks, cutting him down completely. Become the enemy in your mind so you see his weaknesses as your own opportunities. Release 4 hands when locked in deadlock by changing to an unexpected technique. Move the shade with a feint to reveal his true spirit. Hold down a shadow by suppressing his intention before it forms. Pass on weakness by infecting him with hesitation. Frighten him with sudden threats. Soak in by merging your spirit with his until you can strike decisively. Injure the corners to topple the whole. Throw into confusion by varying your attacks. Use the 3 shouts, before, during, and after, to disturb his mind and announce your victory. Mingle your blows like a winding path, crush the weak utterly, alternate mountain sea changes so he cannot predict you, penetrate his deepest spirit, and renew your own spirit when stalled.
Treat the enemy as your own troops so you may command his movements. Let go the hilt when victory comes without the sword. Make your body like a rock, immovable and untouchable. In large-scale battle, the same fire applies. One who masters this beats 10. 10,000 beat 100,000. Train diligently morning and evening. Polish your skill until power flows naturally. Research every contest, every survival fight, every life and death moment.
The Fire Book is not about fancy techniques, but about the fierce spirit that consumes doubt and hesitation. Practice until you can strike with certainty, press without pause, and read intent at a glance. When you have this fire in your heart, the enemy is already defeated before the blades cross. The Book of Five Rings by Miyamoto Musashi. The Wind Book. This book examines the ways of other schools of strategy. Wind represents tradition and the methods of others. To know your own way truly, you must understand the strengths and weaknesses of different approaches. Some schools rely on strength, others on technique or trickery. I show where these paths are narrow or mistaken so that you do not fall into the same limitations. A warrior who only knows his own school is incomplete. Study the wind to see clearly what is effective and what is empty show. Use this knowledge to make your own strategy broader and stronger. True mastery includes knowing what to avoid as much as what to embrace. Many schools favor extra-long swords, believing length alone brings victory. This is weak. They depend on distance and cannot fight close where the companion sword excels. Some praise short swords for quick strikes or many techniques with fixed attitudes, calling surface forms outer and deeper principles inner. All such divisions are mistaken. The true way has no gate, no interior or exterior. It is simply the spirit of cutting down the enemy. Other schools teach elaborate stances, floating footwork, jumping steps, or fixed grips. These breed indecision. True footwork is ordinary walking, light toes, firm heels, natural rhythm. Speed that looks hurried only deranges the spirit. The master never appears fast. He moves with deliberate power like a drumbeat. Some rely on strength, striking hard and carrying their sword away with the blow. Others use trickery, feints, and flourishes. These become show for profit, like decorating a house to sell. The true strategist cares only for defeating the enemy, not for reputation in the dojo. In large-scale strategy, the same errors appear. Armies that depend on numbers or brute force clash fiercely but lack wisdom. Formations that are too rigid become easy to break. Eyes fixed on the enemy's sword, hands, or feet confuse the spirit. Look instead at his heart. I do not name the schools I criticize. Their interpretations differ and naming would cause confusion. Yet I have studied them all so that you may see their limits and avoid them. My Niten Ichi Ryu has no such narrowness. It uses two swords as one, adapts to any terrain, any number of foes, and strikes directly with the spirit of fire and the flow of water. Study the wind deeply.
See what is effective and discard what is empty. A warrior who understands other ways strengthens his own. True mastery is not narrow specialization, but broad vision. Know the false paths so you may walk the true one without deviation. When you have examined the wind, return to the ground, water, and fire with clearer eyes. Only then will your strategy become unbreakable.
The Book of Five Rings by Miyamoto Musashi. The Book of the Void. In the Book of the Void, I speak of that which has no form. The void is the ultimate truth beyond technique and thought. When you have trained thoroughly in the 4 previous books, you reach a state where the mind is free of all attachment. There is no longer I or enemy, only correct action arising naturally. This is the highest level of strategy. The void contains everything and nothing. He who dwells in the void acts without hesitation, fear, or doubt. All things become clear. This is the final teaching of the way. To reach emptiness, and from emptiness produce perfect action. Study deeply until you understand what cannot be spoken. The void is not mere nothingness or confusion. Many call what they do not understand void, but that is error. True void is known only after you have studied every martial art, practiced hour after hour, and polished heart and perception until nothing clouds them. Then the mind becomes empty, free of self, free of fixed ideas, free of attachment to victory or defeat. In this emptiness, virtue exists, wisdom exists, principle exists, the way exists. Yet the spirit itself is nothingness. From this nothingness, perfect action flows without thought. You strike not because you decide to strike, but because the moment demands it. The sword moves by itself. The body follows. There is no deliberation, no I choosing. This is the state beyond the ground, beyond water's flow, beyond fire's fury, beyond wind's traditions. It is the natural rhythm of the universe. When you have mastered the 4 books, the 5th appears of itself. You no longer cling to techniques. They have become part of you and then dissolved. You no longer see an enemy. You see only the opening that must be cut. In daily life and in battle, the same emptiness governs. Govern a province, lead an army, face a single foe. All become the same when the mind is void. You perceive widely, act forthrightly, and the way manifests without effort. Many warriors stop at the 4 books, satisfied with forms and principles. They never reach the void, and therefore their strategy remains incomplete. True mastery is to pass through all 5 and return to the beginning as if nothing was learned, yet everything is known. I write this at the end so that you may understand the final teaching. Study the ground until it is solid. Flow like water until you adapt perfectly. Burn with fire until hesitation dies. Examine the wind until other ways hold no mystery. Then enter the void. From emptiness, perfect action arises. All things become clear.
there is nothing more to say. Train without cease until you dwell in this emptiness, and the way will be yours forever.